Today, we're taking a deep dive into 100 ways to motivate others.
Oh, yeah, this one's great.
It is right. It's by Steve Chandler and Scott Richardson.
Right.
And I think it's a must-read for anybody who's leading a team,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're, a CEO of a huge company
Yeah,
or just starting out like managing a small team.
absolutely.
This book is really all about getting those amazing results,
Yeah.
but without everybody going crazy in the process.
It's interesting because the thing that really struck me about this book is the way it presents these almost paradoxical ideas about leadership.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Like, one of them is to get more done, you actually need to slow down.
Okay.
To hit those big goals faster, you kind of have to take the pressure off a bit,
Oh, okay.
almost make it feel like a game.
Like a game.
Yeah. And to be a true leader, you have to get out in front and lead the charge, not just manage from behind.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like flipping the script on what we think leadership's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And, speaking of flipping the script, the book kicks off with this great story.
Okay.
It's about this manager. He goes to this seminar thinking it's all about how to motivate other people.
Right. Yeah.
But he walks out realizing it's actually about helping people tap into their own motivation.
That's such a good point.
Right.
And it really sets the scene for one of the most important ideas in the book, that motivation comes from within. It's like that, classic psychology concept of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
Think about those experiments where people were actually less creative when they were promised a reward for doing well.
Right.
It's almost like that pressure backfires.
It can.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're learning here is, as a leader, instead of trying to force motivation, you're more like a gardener,
Absolutely.
right? You can't force a plant to grow,
Mm-hmm.
but you can give it the right environment to thrive.
That's the key.
Yeah.
And one way to create that environment is by shifting how you and your team think about self-discipline.
Oh.
The book uses this really cool analogy of a Spanish dictionary.
Okay.
We all have the words in the dictionary, but it's the act of actually using them that builds fluency.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not about, just having this personality trait where some people are self-disciplined and some aren't.
Exactly.
It's more about,
It's a practice.
yeah, like building a muscle.
Exactly. Choosing to practice it.
It's about adopting what psychologists call a growth mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That belief that you can develop abilities through effort and practice.
Right.
As opposed to a fixed mindset where you think you're either born with talent or you're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how can you help your team cultivate that growth mindset when it comes to self-discipline?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Maybe it's celebrating those small wins, breaking down big goals into smaller steps.
Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, it's about helping them see self-discipline as something they can cultivate,
Yeah.
not something they either have or don't have.
And, it makes me think about how this all ties into another big theme in the book,
Okay.
which is leaders should be producers, not just critics.
Mm-hmm.
There's that really powerful quote by Neil Donald Walsh that says, every decision you make, every decision is not a decision about what to do. It's a decision about who you are being.
That's powerful.
Right.
And it's so true. The leader's energy, their actions, those have a massive impact on the whole team's culture.
Yeah, for sure.
Think about a time you felt really inspired by someone's leadership.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about them?
Yeah.
Was it their passion, their dedication, their willingness to roll up their sleeves and work alongside the team?
That's it. Yeah.
Those are the things that truly motivate others.
So let me ask you, listening,
Yeah.
are you modeling the behavior you want to see in your team? Are you being the cause of their success, not just trying to manage the effects?
That's a good question to ask yourself.
It is.
It is. And it reminds me of that example in the book about the two people reacting to the same pay plan.
Oh, yeah.
One person is thrilled.
Right.
The other is completely demoralized.
It's crazy how two people can have such different interpretations of the same event.
Right. And that's where the power of thought comes in.
Okay.
This is what psychologists call cognitive reframing. It's like, putting on a different pair of glasses.
Right.
The situation stays the same, but you see it in a whole new light.
So as a leader, how can we help our team, I guess, choose those rose-colored glasses, so to speak?
Well, I think one way is by just being aware of your own interpretations. Are you focusing on the positives, or are you letting that negativity kind of dominate.
Yeah,
Because your attitude is going to rub off on your team.
it does, yeah.
Another thing you can do is actively challenge negative thinking. If someone on your team is constantly complaining,
Yeah,
gently push back, Ask them, okay, that's one way to see it, but what's another perspective?
I love that.
Yeah,
Help them find a more empowering interpretation.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that leads perfectly into the next point, which is the importance of action as the antidote to helplessness.
Okay.
The book talks about this salesperson who, whenever she's feeling stuck, asks herself, if I were coaching myself right now, what would I do?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Turn that inner critic into your own personal coach.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a passive mindset to a proactive one.
Right.
It's about focusing on what you can control and taking action, even if it's just a small step.
So if your team is feeling stuck,
Yeah.
shift the focus to action. Ask them, what's one small step you can take right now?
Yeah.
Maybe it's sending that email, making that phone call, or just even brainstorming some ideas.
Right, because that small win can create a ripple effect, leading to bigger and better things.
And this all ties back to the idea of focusing on results, not excuses, which the book really hammers home. I love that line. People figure out ways to get what they want.
That's such a powerful statement, and it applies to underperformers too,
Oh, okay.
If someone is constantly underperforming,
Right.
but still managing to keep their job, maybe what they really want is just to coast along with minimal effort.
Yeah, it's like, what are we really measuring here? Are
Yeah.
we rewarding effort or are we rewarding results?
And speaking of rewards,
Okay.
one way to boost motivation
Yeah.
and make work feel less like a chore is to, make it feel more like a game.
Oh, okay.
The book tells this fantastic story about Chuck Coonrat, who discovered that frozen food workers who hated their jobs absolutely loved to go hunting,
Really?
even though it involved being out in the cold and often coming home empty-handed.
It's a good point, though, because hunting is a game. There's that clear objective, there's a challenge, and a sense of accomplishment when you succeed.
That's exactly it. And that's where gamification comes in. It's about tapping into those psychological principles that make games so engaging.
So how can you, listening right now, gamify your team's work?
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe create a leaderboard to track progress?
sure, yeah.
Or set up mini challenges with small rewards?
Right. Or even just something as simple as adding an element of surprise or fun.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about tapping into that inherent human desire to play and compete.
Yeah.
And when people are having fun, they're more likely to be engaged and productive.
And that brings us to the importance of purpose. The book talks about how, with so much on our plates these days, we need to feel good about the choices we're making.
That's where a clear purpose comes in.
Okay.
It provides direction, resilience,
Right.
and it helps us prioritize when we're feeling overwhelmed.
So think about it, the listener out there. Does your team understand the why behind their work?
That's the key.
Are they just going through the motions? Or do they see the bigger picture?
Yeah.
How can you make their purpose more tangible, more meaningful?
Right. Maybe it's connecting their work to a specific customer story.
Yeah.
Or showing them the direct impact their efforts have on the company's mission.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Those are good examples, and it reminds me of that story in the book about Professor Mercado.
Oh, yeah.
The one who saw the potential in Steve Chandler, even after he bombed his violin audition.
I love that story.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
And then there was Michael, the student, who sat silently in class, but who turned out to have this incredible musical gift.
Yeah. It's so powerful.
It is. And it really highlights the Pygmalion effect, which is this fascinating psychological phenomenon where our beliefs about people can actually influence their performance.
Exactly. If you believe in someone, even when they don't believe in themselves, you can help them unlock their true potential.
But on the flip side,
Yep.
if you constantly doubt them or focus on their weaknesses, you might actually be holding them back.
Absolutely.
So the question for you, the listener, is, do you see the best in your team? Even when they don't see it themselves.
Right.
How can you communicate those high expectations and that belief in their abilities? Maybe it's something as simple as saying, hey, I know you can do this. I've seen what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes to ignite that spark.
It really is. And it's important to remember that as a leader, you have a choice when it comes to your own energy and enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
You
I love how the book puts it. Choosing enthusiasm is as deliberate as choosing to speak English or Spanish.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that enthusiasm is contagious.
It is.
It's energy. It sets the tone for the whole team.
So what are you genuinely excited about in your work?
Right.
Because that passion is going to shine through,
It will.
and it's going to inspire others.
And even if you're not feeling particularly enthusiastic at a given moment, you can choose to act as if you are.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and that act of faking it till you make it can actually shift your internal state over time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Welcome back. We're digging deeper into 100 ways to motivate others.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And, these next strategies, they might actually surprise you a little. They're
Mhm.
kind of counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but they really work. And one that I thought was interesting
Okay.
is giving up being right all the time,
Oh, yeah.
which is it's so tempting as a leader,
Especially when you're new.
especially when you're new. You want to prove your knowledge, your authority.
You want to be the expert, yeah.
Right. But Chandler and Richardson,
Yeah.
they make a really good point that constantly needing to be right actually creates this atmosphere of fear
Yeah, fear and defensiveness.
and defensiveness in
Yeah.
your team. And it's like everybody's just walking on eggshells, afraid to speak up or share their ideas
Right.
in case they get shot down.
It stifles creativity and innovation.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so the book really emphasizes
Yeah.
the importance of listening for the value in what people are saying, even if you don't agree with every single point.
It's about creating that safe space for honest, open communication.
Yeah.
You know?
And that actually makes me think of another point in the book, which is stop talking so much and start asking more questions.
Well, especially during job interviews.
Oh, yeah.
It's so common for interviewers to just spend the whole time talking about the company and themselves.
Yeah.
They completely miss out on all the valuable insights they could be getting from the candidate.
Right. Instead of asking questions to see if this person is truly motivated,
Exactly.
if they'd be a good fit for the team,
Yeah, it's about recognizing that you can learn so much more by listening than by talking.
Yeah.
And this all ties into another key concept, refusing to buy into limitations.
Oh, this one really resonated with me.
It's so important.
As leaders, we have to see the potential in our team members, even when they don't see it in themselves.
Because if you communicate that belief in their abilities, it can unlock incredible things.
It really can.
Think about a teacher who really believed in you, who saw something special in you, even when you doubted yourself.
Yeah.
That can make all the difference.
It really can.
Yeah.
And another thing to watch out for is that it's crazy around here mentality that can sometimes take hold in a workplace.
Oh, yeah. It's like,
That negativity is a killer.
it is. It's contagious.
It drains everyone's energy.
Yeah. And as leaders, we need to be honest about the challenges,
Yeah.
but also focus on solutions and opportunities.
Right. It's like that saying, energy flows where attention goes. If you're constantly dwelling on the negative, it's just going to grow.
Speaking of honesty, there's a chapter in the book about stop cuddling up to your team just to be liked.
Oh, that's a classic trap.
It is, right? So many managers are so afraid of having those difficult conversations or holding people accountable because they just want to be the nice guy.
Right. Be liked.
Yeah.
But that can backfire.
It totally can.
It can erode trust,
Mm-hmm.
and it ultimately leads to mediocrity.
True leaders focus on earning respect, not just being liked.
Right.
And that means having those tough conversations sometimes, being honest and holding people accountable,
Yeah.
even when it's uncomfortable.
It's about doing what's best for the team,
Yeah,
even if it means ruffling a few feathers.
exactly.
And speaking of getting things done,
Okay.
the book advocates for tackling the worst tasks first.
Ooh, I like that.
They call it worst first principle.
Yeah, that's such a good productivity hack.
It is?
Because we all have those tasks that we procrastinate on,
Oh, yeah?
the ones that loom over us and just drain our energy.
But if you get those out of the way first,
Yeah.
it frees up so much mental and emotional bandwidth.
It's like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah, it is.
And then you can approach the rest of your work with so much more clarity and focus.
And once you've cleared your plate, it's important to, as they say in the book, know the score.
Oh, this one's so important.
It is.
It's about being on top of the numbers,
Yeah.
Understanding what's working, what's not, and using that information to make decisions.
And giving your team clear, consistent feedback
Absolutely.
so they know how they're doing
Mhm.
and what they can do to improve.
And if you're not a numbers person,
Yeah.
that's okay.
Well,
The book encourages you to find ways to make the data meaningful and relatable.
yeah.
Maybe you create a simple dashboard or use visuals to tell the story of the numbers.
Yeah. I like that.
The point is to make the information accessible and engaging.
So, you know the score, you've tackled those tough tasks. What's next?
Well, according to Chandler and Richardson, it's time to manage the fundamentals.
Okay.
And they actually tell this great story about a music professor who spends a whole hour with his students, just working on the first two measures of a piece.
And by mastering those fundamentals,
Yeah,
the students were able to play the entire piece beautifully.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes we need to slow down and focus on the basics before we can achieve mastery.
And it's about leading by doing.
Yes.
The book talks about, doers and feelers.
Mm-hmm.
Doers take action, they get things done,
Right.
while feelers get bogged down in their emotions.
Right. So as leaders, we need to embody that doer mentality.
Yeah.
We need to be out in front, showing our team what it means to take action and get results.
And that leads to another principle that's important,
Okay.
which is knowing your people's strengths.
Oh, this is so important.
Yeah.
Stop obsessing over weaknesses
Right.
and focus on developing those natural talents that make each individual unique.
I mean, think about it. When people are doing what they're good at,
Yeah.
they're more engaged, more productive, and ultimately more fulfilled. Yeah. And that leads to greater motivation.
It's like finding the right tool for the right job.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb, would you?
Right.
So why try to force someone into a role that doesn't play to their strengths?
Good point.
Yeah. So take the time to understand what each person on your team excels at. Help them leverage those strengths to achieve their goals. You'll be amazed at the results.
And then there's this idea of debating yourself.
Oh, yeah. I love this one.
It sounds a little crazy at first,
It does.
but it's actually a really powerful technique.
It is.
It's about questioning your assumptions,
Yeah.
challenging those negative thoughts,
Hmm.
and choosing a more empowering interpretation.
It's about recognizing that our thoughts create our feelings and that we have the power to choose those thoughts.
And it's also about remembering that, leadership is not about being a superhero who can do everything perfectly.
Right. It's about being human,
Yeah.
being willing to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And letting your team see that vulnerability.
And that brings us to another concept that's really key,
Okay.
which is leading with language.
Oh, this is so important.
Yeah.
The book encourages us to use language that inspires, motivates, and empowers.
Yeah, think about it. Words have incredible power.
They do.
They can, create a positive or negative environment. They can build people up or tear them down.
So choose your words carefully.
Yeah.
And that includes the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. And speaking of language, let's talk about the importance of positive reinforcement.
Right.
And this doesn't mean giving everyone a participation trophy or ignoring problems.
Right.
It's about recognizing and acknowledging those small wins, those moments of excellence that often go unnoticed.
Because those small acknowledgments
Yeah.
can have a huge impact on motivation and morale.
Imagine you're working on a tough project
Yeah.
and your manager takes a moment to say, "Hey, I really appreciate the extra effort you put into that presentation. It really showed."
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make you feel more motivated to keep up the good work?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another key point that might seem a little counterintuitive is teaching your people to say no.
Oh, yeah.
And now, this doesn't mean encouraging them to be rude or dismissive.
Right. It's about helping them set healthy boundaries
Right.
and prioritize their time and energy.
Because when people are constantly overwhelmed and overcommitted, they're not able to do their best work.
Nobody wins in that situation.
And nobody wins.
Exactly. So how can you help your team members feel more comfortable saying no?
Yeah.
Maybe it's having an open conversation about priorities. Or maybe it's giving them permission to push back on unrealistic deadlines.
Yeah, I like that.
The point is to create an environment where they feel empowered to protect their time and energy.
And that ties into the next point, which is about keeping your people thinking friendly customer thoughts.
Oh, this is so important.
It is.
Chandler and Richardson argue that poor customer relations are at the root of so many business problems. Yeah.
But when we treat our customers like valued partners,
Mm-hmm.
it creates this ripple effect throughout the whole organization.
Yeah, it leads to increased loyalty,
Absolutely.
repeat business, and ultimately greater success for everybody.
Exactly.
So how can you encourage your team to think more like friendly customers?
I mean, maybe it's sharing positive customer testimonials.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's inviting customers to participate in product development.
I like that.
Yeah, the point is to create a culture where everyone understands the importance of exceeding customer expectations.
And that brings us to another time management strategy,
Wow.
which is using your best time for your biggest challenge.
Oh, this is a good one.
We all have those times of day
Mhm.
when we're just like most productive, most focused.
So identify those peak performance times
Yeah.
and schedule your most important tasks accordingly.
Right.
Don't waste your peak energy on email and busy work.
Yeah.
Save it for the tasks that require your full focus and creativity. And even if you don't have those big, chunks of uninterrupted time,
Yeah.
there's still ways to maximize those smaller pockets of time.
Absolutely. Even 10 minutes can be incredibly productive if used strategically.
Well,
Maybe you use that time to brainstorm ideas, knock out a few emails, or do a quick task that's been lingering on your to-do list.
right. So be intentional with your time,
Yeah.
no matter how much or how little you have.
It's all about those small wins adding up over time.
Yeah.
And that reminds me of the principle of knowing what you want to grow.
Okay.
It's about being intentional with your focus, because what we focus on tends to expand.
If you're constantly dwelling on the problems,
Yeah.
they'll seem to multiply.
Exactly.
But if you shift your focus to solutions and opportunities, you'll start to see more of those.
It's like that saying, what you resist persists.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you want to cultivate more of in your work and in your life? Focus on that.
Water those seeds.
Water those seeds and watch them grow.
And speaking of growth, there's a chapter in the book about softening your heart,
This one's good.
which sounds a little touchy-feely at first.
It does.
But-
It's actually a really important leadership quality.
It is.
It's about approaching leadership with a sense of compassion and understanding.
Because people are more likely to be motivated by someone who genuinely cares about their well-being.
You know, think about the leaders you've admired most in your life. Weren't they the ones who not only challenged you to grow,
Yeah.
but also supported you along the way?
Had your back.
Had your back even when you messed up.
Exactly.
And that brings us to another important point,
Okay.
which is coaching your people to completion.
Yeah.
This is about helping them break down large goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Right.
And it's about providing guidance and encouragement along the way.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people just need a little nudge to get over the finish line.
Sometimes they just need someone to remind them to celebrate their wins.
Exactly, no matter how small. And that brings us to the concept of doing the math on your approach.
Okay.
This one's about recognizing that positivity adds value, while negativity subtracts it.
So choose your words and actions carefully
Carefully, yeah.
because they have a ripple effect on those around you.
They do.
And it's about counting yourself in.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah.
This is about being a team player, being willing to jump in and help out, even when it's not your primary responsibility.
Because when leaders show that they're willing to, roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty,
Yeah.
it inspires others to do the same.
It creates a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose.
Yeah, and that brings us to a principle that might seem counterintuitive.
Okay.
Relaxing.
Oh, this is so important.
I know it seems like the opposite of productivity,
It does.
but the book argues that relaxation is actually key to high performance.
It is.
Because when we're tense and stressed,
Yeah.
we're not able to access our full potential.
Think about it.
Yeah.
When you're feeling relaxed and calm, you're more creative, more focused, more able to make good decisions.
So find ways to manage your stress levels,
Yeah.
whether it's through meditation, exercise, or just taking a few deep breaths.
And that brings us to another key point, not throwing the quit switch.
Oh, we all have that little voice in our head
Oh, we do.
that tells us to give up when things get tough.
The book encourages us to resist that urge and keep pushing forward.
Because perseverance is often the key to achieving great things.
It is.
And remembering that failure is not the opposite of success.
Right.
It's part of the journey.
Every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid to take risks. And don't let the fear of failure hold you back from pursuing your goals.
And that brings us back to the importance of leading with enthusiasm.
Oh, yeah.
Enthusiasm is contagious.
It is.
You know, when we're passionate about our work, it shows and it inspires others.
Absolutely.
So find what excites you about your work and let that passion shine through.
And it's about encouraging your people to concentrate.
Okay, yes, in today's world of distractions,
Yeah.
focus is a superpower.
It is.
Help your team develop strategies for, minimizing distractions and staying on task.
Maybe it's setting aside dedicated time for focused work.
Right.
or using technology to block out those distractions.
The point is to create an environment that supports that, like deep, focused work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that leads into another important concept, inspiring inner stability.
Okay.
This is about helping your team develop a sense of self-worth
Hmm.
and resilience.
Because when people feel good about themselves,
Yeah.
they're more likely to perform at their best.
And they're more likely to be motivated.
It's about giving up being right.
Oh, yeah.
This is about recognizing that, like, it's more important to be effective than to be right.
Yeah.
So be willing to listen to other perspectives
Mm.
and be open to changing your mind.
And it's about waking yourself up.
Okay.
This is about staying curious. Yeah.
Engaged and enthusiastic about your work.
Don't let yourself fall into a rut.
Right.
Challenge yourself to learn new things.
Yes.
Find ways to keep your work fresh and exciting.
And it's about always showing them.
Oh, yeah. Don't just tell your team what to do.
Right.
Show them how to do it.
Lead by example.
Be willing to, again, roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty.
And it's about focusing like a camera.
Okay.
This is about being present
Mhm.
and giving your full attention to the person you're interacting with.
Yeah. Put away the distractions.
Put away the distraction.
Make eye contact.
Make eye contact. Listen attentively.
Let the other person know they have your undivided attention.
And it's about thinking of management as easy.
Okay.
Now, this might sound counterintuitive,
It does.
but the book argues that management can be effortless when we focus on the right things.
Okay.
It's about setting clear expectations,
Mhm.
providing the right resources,
Right.
and empowering your team to succeed. And it's about cultivating the power of reassurance.
Oh, this is huge.
It is.
People need to know that they're valued and appreciated.
Yeah.
So take the time to acknowledge their efforts,
Right.
celebrate their successes, and provide support and encouragement when they're facing challenges.
Yeah, and it's about phasing out disagreement.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
this doesn't mean avoiding conflict altogether.
Right. It's about finding more constructive ways to address disagreements.
Right.
Focus on finding common ground.
Mhm.
Be willing to compromise.
And it's about keeping learning.
Oh, this is so important for leaders.
It is.
The best leaders are lifelong learners. They're
Right.
constantly seeking out new information and ideas.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to ask questions.
And they're always looking for ways to improve.
Yeah, and it's about learning what leadership is not.
Okay.
Leadership is not about power or control.
Right.
It's about service and empowerment.
Mhm.
It's about inspiring others to achieve their best. And it's about creating a positive and supportive environment where everyone can thrive.
And it's about hearing your people out.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah.
This is about listening attentively to what your team members have to say.
Yeah, even if you don't agree with everything
Even if you don't agree.
they say.
Yeah, because everyone deserves to be heard.
Right.
And it's about playing it lightly.
Okay.
And this doesn't mean taking your work less seriously,
Mhm.
but it's about finding ways to bring joy and laughter into the workplace.
Yeah, I like that.
Because when people are having fun,
Mm.
they're more likely to be engaged and productive.
And it's about keeping all your smallest promises.
Yes, this is so important for building trust and credibility.
It is.
When we keep our commitments, even the small ones,
Right.
it shows that we're reliable and trustworthy.
It sets a positive example.
It does. It sets a positive example for our team.
And it's about giving power to the other person.
Ooh. Yeah, this is about empowering your team members to make decisions and take ownership of their work.
Yeah, because when people feel like they have a voice,
Mm,
they're more likely to be motivated.
absolutely. And they're more likely to take pride in their work.
And it's about not forgetting to breathe.
Oh, this is so important,
And
especially in today's fast-paced world.
right, it's about managing stress and staying calm under pressure.
Yeah, because when we're stressed, we're not able to think clearly
Right.
or make good decisions. So take a few deep breaths.
Yeah, go for a walk.
Go for a walk. Or do whatever you need to do to relax and regain your composure.
And it's about knowing you've got the time.
Yeah, this is about managing your time effectively
Mhm.
and prioritizing your tasks.
Because when we feel like we're in control of our time, we're less likely to feel stressed and overwhelmed.
And we're more likely to be productive.
Yeah.
And it's about using the power of deadlines.
Oh, yeah. Deadlines can be a great motivator.
It can.
They help us stay focused and on track.
So set realistic deadlines and hold yourself and your team accountable to them.
And it's about translating worry into concern.
Oh, I like that.
Worry is unproductive.
It is.
It drains our energy.
Mm.
It prevents us from taking action.
Right. So when you find yourself worrying,
Yeah.
shift your focus to what you can control
Right.
and take steps to address the situation.
And it's about letting your mind rule your heart.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
This is about making decisions based on logic and reason, not on emotion.
Yeah, because when we let our emotions dictate our actions,
Yeah.
we're more likely to, make those impulsive decisions
Right.
that we later regret.
So take a step back,
Mm.
assess the situation objectively,
Yeah.
and make a decision that's in the best interest of everyone involved.
And it's about building a culture of acknowledgement.
Oh, this is huge.
Yeah.
This is about recognizing and appreciating the contributions of your team members.
Right.
Let them know that you see their hard work
Yeah.
and that you value their efforts.
And it's about seizing responsibility.
Oh, yes.
Don't wait for someone else to take charge.
Step up.
Yeah.
Take ownership of the situation.
Be proactive and be willing to make decisions.
And it's about getting some coaching yourself.
Oh, yeah. Even the best leaders can benefit from coaching.
Absolutely. A good coach can help you identify your blind spots,
Right.
develop your leadership skills,
Yeah.
and achieve your full potential.
And it's about making it happen today.
Don't procrastinate.
Right.
Take action now.
Yeah. Because the best time to start is always today.
It is.
And it's about learning the inner thing.
Oh, this is about developing self-awareness.
Okay.
Understanding your strengths and weaknesses, and learning to manage your emotions.
And it's about forgetting about failure.
Oh, yeah. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey.
It is.
So don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
Learn from them
Yeah.
and move on.
And it's about following consulting with action.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
Don't just talk about it. Do it.
Yeah.
Take the advice you receive and put it into action.
And it's about creating a vision.
Oh, yes.
A clear vision provides direction and purpose.
It does.
It inspires and motivates people.
So take the time to develop a compelling vision for your team
Yeah.
and communicate it clearly and consistently.
And it's about stopping looking over your shoulder.
Oh, yeah. This is about letting go of the past and focusing on the future.
Don't dwell on mistakes or regrets.
Learn from them and move on.
And it's about leading by selling.
Okay.
And this doesn't mean being pushy or manipulative.
Right. It's about being persuasive and influential.
Right.
It's about understanding your audience, building relationships,
Yeah.
and presenting your ideas in a way that resonates with them.
And it's about holding on to principle.
Oh, this is so important.
Yeah.
This is about being ethical
Huh.
and doing the right thing,
Yeah.
even when it's difficult.
Because integrity is essential for building trust and credibility.
It is.
And it's about creating your relationships.
Oh, yeah. Relationships are the foundation of leadership.
They are.
So invest time and energy in building strong relationships with your team members.
Right.
Get to know them on a personal level.
Yeah.
And show that you care about their well-being.
And it's about not being afraid to make requests.
If you need something, ask for it.
Right. Don't be afraid to delegate.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
And it's about not changing yourself.
Okay.
And this doesn't mean being resistant to growth and development.
Right. It's about being authentic and true to yourself.
Yeah.
Because when we try to be someone we're not, it's exhausting and ultimately unsustainable.
And it's about pumping up your emails.
Oh, this is a fun one.
It is.
This is about using email as a tool for positive communication.
Right. Write emails that are clear, concise, informative. Use a positive and upbeat tone.
Yes.
And avoid negativity and complaining.
And it's about stopping pushing.
Okay.
This is about recognizing that we can't force people to change. We can only inspire them.
So instead of pushing your agenda,
Yeah.
create a supportive environment where people feel safe to explore new ideas and try new things.
And it's about becoming conscious.
Okay.
This is about being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. And it's about being mindful of the impact you have on others.
And it's about coming from the future.
Oh, I like this one.
Right.
This is about envisioning the future you want to create.
Yeah.
Setting goals and taking action to achieve them.
And it's about teaching them to teach themselves.
Oh, this is so important.
Yeah.
This is about empowering your team members to be lifelong learners.
Right.
Encourage them to seek out new information, experiment with new approaches, develop their skills.
And it's about stopping apologizing for change.
Oh, yeah. Change is inevitable.
It is.
And it's often necessary for growth and progress.
Yeah.
So embrace change.
Yeah.
And help your team members to do the same.
And it's about letting people find it.
Okay.
This is about creating an introduction.
for the final part of our deep dive into 100 ways to motivate others. And I gotta say,
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty energized after all these amazing insights from Chandler and Richardson.
It is such a practical book.
It is. It really is.
And even though we've covered so much,
Yeah.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
I agree. But, if there's one key takeaway
Yeah.
that keeps echoing in my mind, it's that leadership isn't about forcing people into a mold.
Right.
It's about inspiring them to reach their full potential.
It's about tapping into that internal drive.
Yeah.
That intrinsic motivation that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to control people,
Yeah.
we need to create the conditions that allow them to thrive.
Right, like giving them clear goals, the resources they need,
Yeah,
a supportive environment where they feel valued for their contributions.
exactly. And that's why I think understanding the psychology behind motivation is so crucial.
Yeah.
It's not about dangling carrots and wielding sticks.
Mhm.
It's about creating a space where people feel genuinely excited to come to work
Right.
and contribute their best.
And to do that, we have to walk the walk. Right.
Absolutely.
It's about leading by example, showing up with enthusiasm,
Yeah.
and constantly striving to learn and grow ourselves.
That's what makes leadership a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
We're always evolving, always learning.
And we have to remember those paradoxes
Oh, yeah.
I talked about, like slowing down to speed up,
Right.
getting ahead of our people to truly lead,
Mm-hmm.
and even embracing a little bit of playfulness
Yeah.
to unlock those, serious results.
It's about challenging those traditional notions of what leadership should look like and finding what works best for you and your team.
Well said. Well said. And as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you, our listener, with a final provocative thought from the book.
Chandler and Richardson, they really hammer home this idea that leadership is about doing the right things, not just doing things right.
It's a good distinction.
It is. And so I want to ask you, what's the one right thing you can focus on this week to become a more motivational leader?
What small step can you take today
Yeah.
to inspire your team?
To create a more positive and productive environment and help those around you reach their full potential.
Remember, even the smallest actions can have a ripple effect.
They really can.
So choose wisely,
Yeah.
lead with intention, and watch as your actions transform not only your team, but yourself as well.
We've loved taking this deep dive with you.
We have.
And we encourage you to explore 100 ways to motivate others for yourself.
It's a great book.
It is. It's a treasure trove of practical wisdom.
Yeah,
And we know you'll find even more gems to guide you on your leadership journey.
absolutely.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep leading with passion and purpose